Hello and well Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Process. I'm your host, Brooke Dawson, and I am so excited for today's episode because my guest is Candice Harvey. Now, Candice is someone that I met at a event a few months ago, and this event was all about using your voice. How relevant. So I was very nervous about asking her to come on the show because when I met you, Candice, I was truly taken by your confidence and your conviction and your vibes. Like you were just owning the scene. I had the best day with you. And I'm
Oh,
so glad that you said yes to coming on the show because I
absolutely.
think this is going to be an awesome conversation for anyone who's feeling like they are living by someone else's prescription or someone else's standard of what their life is meant to be or meant to look like. I'm really looking forward to diving into this with you. But first, I'm going to share your bio that you so kindly shared with me so that everyone listening can get a sense of just how awesome you really are. So, Candice Harvey is the woman you call when your people, leaders, or entire organization needs a serious shakeup, the kind that drives real action and better results. With 20 plus years experience across HR, people leadership, and senior roles in Australia, the UK, and the USA, Candice has worked inside the very environments she now helps improve. From high pressure corporate teams to people at all levels navigating change, pressure, and culture challenges. After years in senior HR roles, she saw the same pattern repeat: smart people, clear intentions, and very little follow through. That insight reshaped her career and now underpins everything she does, helping people move from awareness to actual behavior change. Candice delivers high impact workshops, keynotes, and emceeing at live events that lift the energy in the room, challenge thinking, and turn insight into action. Her style is direct, practical, and built to create momentum that sticks long after the session ends. She is also an Amazon best-selling author of The Shakeup and host of the Shakeup podcast, where she explores performance, mindset, and what it really takes to create lasting change. Candice is known for cutting through the noise, saying what others won't, and helping people leave the room thinking differently and actually doing something about it. So, Candice, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Brooke. I am so glad that you asked me, and I can't wait to have a conversation with you this morning. Best way to start the day.
Hell yeah. And part two after a few technical difficulties, but we make it work. We don't let it
We
bother
made it
us.
work. We made it work.
So, today, like I said, I really want to dive into this topic of living by your own standards versus
Mm.
living by someone else's standards. And the reason why I think this is so relevant is because, well, first of all, it's very relevant for you at the moment, as congratulations, you've just bought your first home.
Thank you so much. It is so exciting. I mean, we're exhausted, and if you could
Yes.
see behind me right now, it doesn't look that cute. So I'm glad I'm just up against a wall, and I've just chucked my poster of the Shake Up podcast there, and yeah, but it's been really fun at the same time. It's been great.
That's awesome. So good. And it is such a big transition and journey to go through buying a house. But for you, it brought up some pretty big
Mm.
emotions and this big story around feeling like you're behind. And I would love to hear more about how that kind of came up for you and how you've kind of worked yourself through it, because I think it is something that everyone can relate to, this feeling
Mm.
of feeling like we are always behind whatever it is that we're supposed to be at, whatever the marker is that we've invented in
Mm.
our own minds.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'd love to be able to talk about it. It feels like it's all I've been talking about this week, to be honest, because I posted about it on Sunday night, just that my husband and I bought our first home. And honestly, my messages, my DMs, like phone calls, people actually picking up the phone to call me, which who does that in 2026? So this is that sort of is a really good indicator that people wanted to talk about this. And I didn't think that this topic would blow up as much as it has, but it's been huge. And it's really around the fact that so often we are just feeling behind in life, and it's actually just super heartbreaking. I was even saying on my stories this morning that we don't want to get to the end of our life and feel like, yay, I kept up with the Joneses, which one of my friends in the States actually said to me this morning when she called me. And it's so true. Like there is
Mm.
somewhere along the way we sort of started out our life feeling like we had to do things at a certain time, whether it's go to school, then you go to uni, and when you finish uni, you get your job, and then you should be earning a certain amount by the time you're 25, and then definitely have met someone before you're 30 and buy that house and start renovating. And it's, as I say it now, like it's exhausting. Like
Mm.
even just saying it, Brooke, sounds like feels like a lot within my body. And we follow along with it. We follow along with this timeline. And if we're there, we feel really proud of ourselves. And if we're not there, we feel like we're failing. We feel like we're, less than. We feel like we're just falling behind. And it's not the case. And I think the moment that we bought our first home, and me being 40, it was a really big like, oh my God, that's exciting. And also I'm old. And also I should have done it earlier. And
Yeah.
also, why is it taking me this long? Like how embarrassing. Like, do I even point that out? Like, should I be posting about this on socials? Like, even that sort of stuff came up where it's like, do you say this is your first home? Like, it was crazy. And it was sort of a big slap in the face, which I do myself. I give myself slaps in the face a lot, Brooke. It's kind of like just what I do, where it was like, what are you doing, Candice? Like I live this incredible life. I love the life that my husband and I have created. I have built this business from the absolute ground up. I've traveled all over the world. Like, I've done incredible things, and I was feeling like a failure. Like, what an idiot. Like, what a lunatic. And so it was, yeah, just being able to share that. Like, there's no timeline. Like, live your life, don't do what Sam's doing. Don't do what Jessica's doing. Like, just because they're a similar age or you feel like they're more ahead, they have a different life to you. Our responsibility is not to follow everyone else. Our responsibility is to take the time and go, what the hell do I want? And I don't think many people do that, Brooke. I think it's very easy just to follow what everyone else is doing. And it feels a bit daunting. It feels a bit intimidating. It feels a bit scary to sit down with a blank piece of paper and go, hello, life. What shall I do with it? And no one does that. But the moment you do that, you'll all of a sudden be like, I don't think I want to buy a house, or I don't think I want that promotion, or I don't think I want to have multiple babies just because my sister did. Whatever it is, it's really figuring out what is it that you want. And the moment that you do that, and I think that's what resonated for a lot of people with my post, is that you get to exhale. It's like, oh, like, let me just do what I want to do. Then get to the end of your life and go, I did what I wanted to do, as opposed to feeling like I had to do what everyone else was doing. So yeah, that's what's going on.
I love that. I think it's such a powerful realization, and how interesting that you talk about this stuff a lot, in the work that you do. I've seen you talk about this a lot on socials, but still we can get sucked into it when it's something that we're not really paying attention to. So you buy the house and all of a sudden you're like, God, you're an idiot for waiting so long to buy a house. But then you're like, wait, what? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah.
I think that especially in the time of social media, it is so easy to get wrapped up in everyone else's highlight reels. Because let's be real, people are not actually sharing the low points and the points where they were unsure, or maybe they made a wrong decision. They're sharing the wins and the big things that they've done. They bought the house, they had the kid, they had another kid within 2 years. That was a big thing for me, where I thought that I needed to, like, I have one little girl who's about to turn 2, and I thought, okay, well, she's 1. So, like, we've got to get on the bandwagon. We've got to get going and get ready to have the next one. And because I've done this for a while, where I have taken a step back and looked at my own life, I was able to go, but I don't want another kid right now. I don't want to have 2 kids under 2. That doesn't sound appealing to me at all. And I realized the only reason that I was thinking that way was because I had people in my life that were doing it. Even though they were complaining to me about how miserable they were, I was like, well, this is the way. This is the next thing that you do, because you got to have your babies close together so they're good friends and blah, 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 blah. But then I realized, well, actually, if I'm going to be the best mother, I actually need to do what's best for me. But it's like you said, it's really not the norm to do that, to take that step back and actually have a conversation with yourself and get really honest with yourself, because it is super daunting. And I would say that it goes all the way back to when we're kids, when we start school and the school system's like, right, here's what you've got to do. Here's what's right. Here's what's wrong. Make sure that you're optimizing everything to fit into this box, because once you finish school, you've got to get straight into uni. Then you've got to do X, Y, Z, and then other letters that come after that, to be able to keep up with the expectation of what life is meant to look like. And we don't get taught at any point to stop and go, well, what do I want? I don't really care what the government wants or what the school system wants. What do I want? And I didn't do that until probably 4 years ago. And up until that point, my whole life was dictated by what other people told me I should be doing. And I know that it is such a common experience. And it sounds like for sure it's been a common experience for your audience too, to just go, man, I don't even, whose life am I living right now? What am I doing?
Mm.
Like what am I actually doing?
Yeah. And I think it's like there's a lot of generational stuff in there, Brooke, as well,
Mm,
where it's if we look at the way that our grandparents live their life or the way that our parents live their
mm,
life, I remember when I sat my parents down, and I talk about this in my book as well, when I sort of said to mum and dad, like, I'm going to start this business because I want to be able to impact more people. And that means leaving my successful, in quotation marks, HR career. And my parents looked at me like, what? Like you're doing so well, like you're climbing that ladder, you're working all over the world. Like, why would you leave that to have so much uncertainty in your life? And it's not what our parents and grandparents did. So it's actually a really confusing time, I think, where we are at the moment, because we do have a lot of freedom and there's a lot of options,
mm.
where people are starting their own businesses, people are trying new things, people can, just behind their phone, they can start a different wealth stream, right? Like we've got so many different ways of doing things now, but also we still have in our mind that there is this still do what is right, still do what other people are doing. So it can become really, it can become a lot. And so I think that finding that space to really sit down and go, what is it that really does light me up, can be one of the toughest questions. I think we can sit down and go, list out all the things that we don't like. And I talk about this a
Mm.
lot in my workshops. It's very easy to do that. The
So
things that piss
easy.
you off, the things that give you the shits, the things that that you're not into, so easy. And it's like, great, what do you love? What excites you? What sort of gives you that joy? What do you do for fun? Which you and I were talking about over the last few days. And people kind of give you blank stares. They're like, I don't know. Like, do adults do that? Do adults have time to do that? Like, we're kind of busy, Candice. Like, we've got a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of errands and bits and pieces to do. Like, we'll squeeze that in when we can, but they're not giving themselves time to even incorporate that into their life. So that's where it just becomes, like I said earlier, it's just easy to follow everyone else. But then we've got the pressure that comes with that too, which is just so tiring.
Yeah. And the regret that comes later in
Mm.
life that I don't think we consider as we're in the moment. It's not until later in life where we look back and go, oh man, I wish that I had done this before I stepped into this phase. Something that I talk a lot about is the different windows that we have in our life to do different things. So before you have kids, if you're someone that's having kids, you have different options available to you than when you do have a child. And when that window or door closes, it doesn't open again. You've kind of moved through that phase and now you're in a different phase. But because we can get so stuck on this hamster wheel of continually chasing the next thing, the next promotion, getting up the ladder, we get to the top of the ladder and we look down and we're like, where am I? This isn't even
Mm.
where I wanted to be in the first place, or I wanted to go over there. I wanted
Mm.
to live overseas for once, but now I can't because I've got this family or I've got all these commitments and responsibilities that I didn't have before. But when we're in that phase, it's so hard to see into the future and to go, well, what will happen if I don't take this chance? Or what will happen if I don't pursue this hobby that I've been talking about for the last 5 years, wanting to start? You spoke about this in a podcast episode I listened to recently about starting dancing and how even that took you a few years to go from, I'm going to start dancing to actually signing up for your
Yep.
first class.
Yeah.
So, and you have the capacity to sit down and go, well, what do I want? Right. But a lot of people are struggling with that. I guess a question that I have for you is, where would you start with that? With someone that is really struggling to even recognize that their life maybe isn't their life. Where
Mm.
would be like a starting point for them to be able to start creating that distance between what I've been told I should do and maybe creating any sort of space to consider what it is that they want to do and how they want to live their
Yeah.
life?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And it actually starts with, you just sort of mentioned it before. You're like, you have the capacity to sit down and do this. And Brooke, like this might sound controversial, but everyone has the capacity to do that.
Mm,
Like I think we get into this habit where we feel like life is so full and so busy. And I know, like with my book coming out earlier this year, and I've had so many friends say like they don't have time to read, and I have to bite my tongue because I'm like, you get to make time for whatever it is that is most important to you. And I get it. Reading The Shake Up by Candice Harvey is not important. Like that's okay, but it's not a busy thing. It's not a
mm.
capacity thing. It's literally you're just choosing other priorities over that. You're choosing to binge. I was about to say that show that everyone's watching, but I don't want the friggin' anything to hear me because then that's what all my Instagram will be what's it called? That show that everyone's watching on. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But that, you've got to watch that. That becomes the priority, or staying up late becomes the priority, whatever it is. And
Yes.
that's okay. But creating that space and that capacity and it's freaking scary. And this is why
Mm.
people say they don't have time to it. But whether you take yourself to a cafe, whether you sit out on the lawn, whether when you do have that moment when no one's miraculously in the house and you sit down with your own thoughts, which is terrifying, absolutely terrifying. But asking yourself the question of, what do I want in this one life? And allowing yourself to realize that it might feel a little bit full on. It might feel like your heart races. It might feel like you've got this dry mouth. It might feel like all of these things that you've never done. And it's not your body telling you you're about to die. It's literally your body saying, we haven't done this before. Like, this is completely new. And to sit down with a pen and paper, a blank pen and paper, peeps, like pen and paper, and just to sit down and just go at the top, what do I want in this life? And drawing that line under it. It's amazing the things that will come up. Like, this piece of paper doesn't have to be shared with anyone. You don't have to tell your friends. You don't have to post it on friggin' social media. You don't have to tell your family. And I actually recommend that you don't. Like, don't do that. And write down what are the things that you want to do with your life. One of my favorite books is the 5 Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware. And I read it every year, like just every year. I don't know if you've heard of that book. Have you,
I
Brooke?
have heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's incredible because it's, a nurse who looks after people when they're nearing the end of their life. And it's all the stories that come up where they wish that they'd done certain things differently. And it really does give yourself that shake up where you're like, what am I doing? What is the shit that I'm focusing on? What is the stuff that I'm telling myself is super important? Like, even after buying this house, I have been in this house 3 days, Brooke, and already people are like, so when are you renovating? How long do you think you're going to be in this house? Do you think you'll stay there for long? Are you going to move? And even just saying it to you, I'm like, I can't, what? Can I just enjoy my house? Can I just be here for a little moment? Like, we've still got boxes to unpack, but it's always thinking of the next thing. But do that brave thing. Allow yourself to actually take your life seriously instead of just going through the motions, which so many people do. And it is the biggest killer of all things. It is when you live your life like that. It's when you get to Christmas and you're like, God, that was a big year. It's like, cool. What actually happened? Oh, a lot of things. It was pretty exhausting. We did and you can't actually articulate it because you're not actually clear on what matters to you. So that would be my first thing, Brooke. Take yourself to a cafe, take that blank piece of paper with you, allow yourself to start brainstorming, because there are so many people who are probably listening to this and have never done this exercise. And it sounds so simple. And I remember years ago doing a post about it because I was using, the Spice Girls, like, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. It's like, can you answer that? Like, what do you want? What do you really, really want? And if you can't answer that, that's your foundation. Like, you can't actually build the rest unless you know what you want. So that's where I'd start.
That's great. That is such a great starting point. Even that, I think, is very stretchy for people, super stretchy for people.
Yeah.
Because I've had the same experience with my clients where I'll ask them, okay, we talk about where they want to be in a year's time and we get really granular on that. And then I'll ask them, okay, well, what would it be like if we were to get to a year from now and nothing has changed? The way that they can articulate so many different things immediately so quickly is astounding. And I always take a moment afterwards to go, can we just acknowledge how much easier it was for you to talk about what, you don't want your life to look like? We want to have that same level of intensity and passion and drive for what we do want. And a lot of us have never done that. And how it is heartbreaking. You mentioned that earlier. It is heartbreaking that we don't take the time to even say it, even let ourselves think it. Because I think a lot of times we think that maybe we have this faraway dream of something we would love to do or love to try, but it feels so out of our realm that even thinking about doing it is too scary. Or they're like, oh, maybe they think it and then they immediately fill it with a story of how they're not capable or how they need more skills, how they need to do all these other things first before they can take that jump. And that is something that I have really worked on in my own life. And I feel like it's something that you are incredibly masterful at, is being able to notice what it is, say it out loud, and then actually go for it. Because something that I think we forget is that before something can exist in the real world, it has to exist in us. We have to think of it in our minds. That's how any invention works, is that it exists first in our minds and then we create it, whether it's a physical product or whether it's a business or whether it is us starting this hobby that we've always wanted to start, it has to start from us acknowledging internally that it is something that we want, regardless of what anyone else thinks or what anyone else thinks we should be doing, which
Mm.
that's a whole other thing of then being able to act on it. But that first step of being able to acknowledge it as existing in your body, that in itself, it feels like a big push for people. And but I think it is such a crucial part to being able to live a life where you don't get to the end and go, I regret not doing this. I regret not doing this. I wish I had done that. I wish I had done that, because that is not it. That is
No.
not the way to live.
No, and I think we get one shot at it. Like
Mm,
we don't know. I'm pretty sure we get one shot at this thing. And I think you mentioned it before. It's we've got to allow ourselves to go big as well.
mm.
And I do this work with teams where it's really getting clear on what matters most for the next couple of months or that year. And people will write things down that are so unimpressive, Brooke. So unimpressive. And
Like
I will
what?
literally like this year, I am going to manage my email inbox.
Wow.
And yeah, like, oh wow, like let's take our clothes off and get excited, right? Like, wow. And they will look at me and go, no, Candice, I've been wanting to do that for years. I'm like, I get that, babe. I get that is something that you are wanting to do. And also it's so boring.
Mm.
So boring. And we do that though. We sort of go, oh, well, what else am I going to do? Like my job's really busy, Candice. And if I have the time to do my email, God, I'll feel better. But will you? Will
Mm.
you? And I think this is like just a really great example of how people are with their entire lives, like they just think that I'd be really happy if I rented somewhere. And this is not saying everyone needs to buy a house, because like I said, I'm still not sure, right? But they're saying these goals to themselves because they go, that's achievable. I can rent somewhere. So I'm going to tell myself that that's my goal, to rent somewhere. Right. Like I'm not going to say buying a house because that feels too big. And I even admitted it. There was like a time there, and I was saying to my husband, I was even telling this to my dad when he came over to see the house. And I was like, there were so many times I was telling myself, we can't buy a house. I was blaming the market. I was blaming the economy. I was blaming the fact that as a business owner, my salary goes so up and down. Like I could justify the shit out of anything to keep myself feeling better than the potentially failing of buying a house, which we wanted to do. And human beings are really bloody good at that. They can justify anything, but it's catching yourself when it's like, is that actually what you want? Like is renting a place, is that big enough for you? Like be audacious, be crazy, like allow yourself, because every goal that I actually set for myself, Brooke, I do achieve. And that's
Mm.
really scary, because it's like, are they big enough then? Because if you are able to achieve every single goal, like I wrote down years ago that I'd write a book, and then I'm like, holy shit, written a book. It's like, so what else? Like, what
Yeah.
else are you going to do? And allow yourself to kind of go crazy. Like, I want to be on big stages. Okay, you've done that. What else? It's like, well, shit, I don't know. But then get inspired by people, like reach out to people, exactly what you've even done today. Like that was a big thing for you to feel nervous and not really know me and go, I'm going to reach out to Candice Harvey and she might say no. And then I said yes, and it made you go, holy shit, she
Yeah.
said yes. Like, who else? Am I going to contact Mel Robbins next? Yes, you are, Brooke. Yes, you are. But
Let me just
allow
quickly
yourself to think,
draft up
you're
the
like,
email.
good one, Candice, good one. Yeah, I'll do that this afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
But go big, one life, go big, not small.
Yeah, I think that's such a powerful message, because a lot of times when we set a goal that is achievable, like you said, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to push myself a little bit, but then I'm still at the same identity that I was at, because I didn't really stretch myself beyond who I
No.
already am. But when you do set a goal that is so big, you have to become someone different. And it's okay to be like, actually, the version of me that I am right now is not the version of me that's going to achieve that goal. Because I've got to do some serious work and I've got to really face myself to get to that point. But I'm going to allow myself to dream, because, like you said, we've got this one life.
Mm.
So who cares? Who cares if it doesn't turn out the way that you thought? It probably won't, actually. It'll probably be different, maybe even more amazing than what you can fathom right now. But giving yourself the space to just say it and dream it and believe that maybe at one point it could happen for you is such an unlock to living a life that actually feels, I mean, really scary sometimes. I'm going to be honest, but amazing. So amazing.
Impressive. Like, live an
Yes,
impressive
yes,
life. Like, your
yes.
goal is not allowed to be that you sort out your email inbox. It's not. Like it has to make it something that when you catch up with your friends and family and they go, what did you do this week? And you're like, you know what? This sounds a little bit crazy, but I reached out to this person, or I decided I'm going to do this course, or I'm going to whatever it is. not that I sorted out my email inbox. Like, stop, go big.
The cool thing about setting big goals as well is that our brains are naturally wired to solve problems, but they need to know what the end goal is. One of my favorite books is Psycho-Cybernetics. I don't know if you've read it, but it's amazing. It's by, oh no, I'm not gonna, I can't remember what his name is. Maxwell something, maybe. Anyway, it's like one of the original kind of self-development books. And one of the analogies he gives in this book that I absolutely love is that our brains work similarly to a missile. So a missile, you put in the coordinates of where it needs to get to, its end location of what it's going to blow up, right? And so it sets out on this trajectory of where it's going to go and where it needs to get to, but it doesn't actually have the path set up. It just has the end point. So the entire time that it is flying through the air, it is making micro corrections in its path. So it's going a little bit this way, then a little bit this way, then a little bit this way, and a little bit this way, but it's consistently moving forward. And I think about this analogy all the time because that is what it takes. You have to get clear on what the end point is, and then just keep going and keep course correcting. Take some sort of action. You're like, oh, that wasn't quite right. Let me just course correct a little bit and go this way. Ooh, that wasn't quite right, but it was a little bit closer. And you're just consistently moving in the direction of that dream, trusting that by taking consistent action and showing up every single day, you're going to get there. You're absolutely going to get there. But the alternative is sitting and waiting for the path to become clear to you. And it never will. It never will. You'll never suddenly have this moment where you wake up and you're like, I have all the answers. I know exactly where I need to go, right? Like that doesn't happen. It happens through the reps and through showing up and through making the mistakes. And I just love that because our brain, once it knows where it needs to go, it'll start looking for opportunities of, oh, let me try this thing, or let me reach out to this person, just like how I did with you, or let me put myself into this room so that I can learn. Like even me coming to Annalise's event, that was me putting myself out there, coming to this event by myself. I'd never done something like that before, but I knew that it was in the pursuit of this goal that I have of being a speaker, of being on stages, of having this successful business. And so I knew I was like, even if it's not 100% right, it's for sure in the right direction. And now look where it's gotten me. But you have to be willing to, take that little step off or leap off the side and just start moving.
100%. Totally agree. Love it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you agree with that because I feel like you are, like I said, very, very well practiced in that. I know you talk about discomfort a lot. And you said something actually that I really loved on a podcast episode. I think it was the one where you talked about the 10 ways that you live your life that's different, where every week you put something on your calendar that scares you. And when you said that, it got me so excited because I actually said that to my husband about a month ago, where I said every week for the past, basically this year, since I decided to start this business, I have had at least one thing on my calendar that makes me literally want to poop my pants.
Love that. Poop your pants, baby.
Poop my pants. Yes.
Yeah. So you got to train your body, right?
Yeah.
Like I got off the phone to a friend this morning and she literally ran her first workshop and she was just thanking me for some of the help that I've given her. And she sort of said like her whole body had this reaction of like fear and like nerves, and like she thought her whole nervous system was about to like combust, right? Like, and it's a lot. It really is. But if you are being someone who doesn't do anything scary and then is hoping to achieve this really big out of your comfort zone goal, good luck. Like good luck. Like it's not possible. It's like the people who all of a sudden want to be these great speakers, but they're not really speaking. They just one day really hope and dream that they'll be on a big stage with the microphone. Like if you're not doing anything, good luck, so that the having something a little bit nerve-wracking, a little bit, oh my God, my heart is racing in your calendar daily, weekly, whatever it is for you that feels like this is stretchy, you have to do that. Otherwise, that big thing that is going to require so much more than that cute little heart flutter is going to be impossible. Like your body won't actually be ready for it. It's so important. And it's also, it blows your mind to realize how many people are purposely doing the complete opposite to that. Who are really not wanting to have anything that freaks them out because they just want to keep cozy and comfortable. And this is how I love to live my life. I mentioned this earlier this year for the very first time, and I have been in the space of people performance and leadership for over 20 years. And the first person walked out of my workshop, and she walked out, and it was a full day workshop, and she walked out just after lunchtime because I was talking about what we were going to do for the rest of the afternoon. And I sort of said, there was a group of 30 of them. And I said, we're going to get really clear on what actually matters for you for the rest of the year. We're going to elevate elevate your standards as a team because the way that you're operating is great, but we want it to be exceptional. And we're going to make sure that you're working a lot smarter instead of harder because no one wants more shit on their to-do list. Like we want to get really clear on what you're actually doing with your time and your capacity and your energy. And I said, and just so you know, it's going to be uncomfortable. Like it's not going to be cruisy. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. And a lady put up her hand and she said, I don't want to do this. And she was freaked out. Wow. And I was like, what is it? She goes, I don't believe in you making us feel uncomfortable. I don't want to do it. And I was like, I promise you will be fine. If there are activities that you don't want to do, you don't have to do them. And she went, no, this is not for me. She looked at her boss. She packed up her stuff and she walked out. And the boss looked at me like, what do I do? I was like, I don't know. She's yours. She's your team member. You have to go sort that out. Yeah, you have to go sort that out. And the whole group sort of looked at me going, whoa, that was a lot. And I was like, that is a lot. And that is like a real sign of someone who she also works from home. She is very picky and choosy with who she spends time with, who she doesn't. Then all of a sudden she's in this workshop where she knows that the afternoon is going to be uncomfortable and her body's like, no way, I need to abort. I need to get out of here. Where is the exit? I am not going to do this. And as a result, though, the saddest thing is not the fact that she ruined my running streak of no one leaving one of my workshops, gutted after 20 years, gutted. But it wasn't that. It was the fact that after that day, everyone was so pumped, but so clear on what matters most. They all were involved in raising the standards as a team. They all knew exactly what they needed to do and not do. And this lady missed out. This lady goes back to her office, goes back to work and does the same stuff she's been doing, hasn't actually allowed herself to think differently, to do different things. So it's, if you want to be able to grow, if you want to be able to live life differently, but better and smarter and easier a lot of the time, you have to get uncomfortable. Otherwise, you're choosing just to stay the same. And that's a really sad alternative in my eyes.
I agree with that completely. That's wild that happened. And also, I mean, congrats to you that it's only happened once in all of the years that you've been running workshops. But
you should see me now. If someone needs to go to the toilet, I'm like, are you coming back? Are you coming back? You just going to the toilet? Okay, you coming back? Okay,
you are for sure coming back. Right. Love you. Love you so much. See you soon. You've got like lollies at the ready to give out to people to try and convince them.
I stand at the door now. I'm like, oh, you have to pass me. Are you leaving? Yeah. Like I get security now. Security around.
Oh man, that's so funny. But so interesting that she was like, absolutely not. I am not willing. I'm not willing to even attempt it, even though it's not even one-on-one where you're calling her out directly. It was in a team of 30 people.
Never. No,
she was like, I'm not ready for this. But such a good reminder of how it does take time to build that, like that muscle, really, of being uncomfortable. And if you've never done it, if you have lived a life where you're coasting, of course that's going to be your default. Of course you're going to try and get out of any opportunity to be uncomfortable because no one really, well, I was going to say no one really likes to be uncomfortable, but I actually enjoy it now. And I bet you probably enjoy it now.
Look, I still get really nervous with everything that I do, you know, and people get really surprised when they hear that about me because of the work that I do. And I am in front of people all the time. I'm like, it is very rare that before a workshop, before any sort of speaking event where I just cruise on in and I'm like, where's the mic? Mic me up. It's not like that, you know, like and I love that. It's like when you and I started talking this morning and you're like, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, I love that. The moment we stop being nervous, the moment we start just feeling like everything is easy, it becomes boring. Like the fact that we are doing things that creates the butterflies, creates that like, oh my gosh, I've never done this before. Like how cool. Like you're going to finish this episode and be like, I did that. Like I did that. And it's the best feeling as opposed to actually I'm nervous. Actually, I'm going to tell Candice I'm not feeling well. Actually, I'm never going to reach out to her in the first place. And people do this. People call in sick when they have big meetings. People say that this is not the right time. Can we do it next week? And it's all fear-based. And even saying it now, it gives me such goosebumps because we're just delaying these incredible things that can happen in our life because we feel like our body is trying to give us this signal that we're not ready, we're not capable, we're not good enough. And it's all bullshit. It's our body just preparing itself for growth. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what an unlock to be able to recognize that for what it is and to be able to be like, I can sit in this feeling and feel really nervous and uncomfortable, but know that it's not actually a reflection of my capacity and my capability as a person. And, you know, this actually is a precursor to that growth. I have to feel this way in order to grow, because if not, then well, I'm not growing. I'm staying the same. I'm doing the same things because I'm staying in my comfort zone. Yeah. So how powerful to be able to really kind of invite those feelings in and say, hey, come along for the ride. I'm gonna still go. I'm gonna make this happen because I know what is going to await on the other side of it is going to be absolutely amazing.
Mm.
But I'm not trying to silence it necessarily because, like you said, I think it is a really important piece of it because it's a constant reminder that you're like, ooh, I'm doing something that, 5 years ago, I would never have had
Yeah.
the guts to do. I would never have done this. I've been talking about having this podcast for 3 or 4 years, and it wasn't
Yeah.
until the end of December that I think I mentioned this to you at the event that
Yeah,
I
you
was like,
did.
on
Yeah.
January 1st, I will start
Yeah.
posting and I will start doing my podcast. And then I was like, what the fuck's going to happen on January 1st? So I'm just going to be like, ding, I'm
Yeah.
ready. And so then I think it was like, I don't know, the 21st or something that I was like, screw this. I'm just going to start posting. I'm just going to start my podcast,
So
whatever.
good.
Like, who cares? But then I got to really start feeling that feeling. And it has
Mm.
been basically every day since then. And yeah, I'm learning how to be like, okay, it's okay. It's okay to feel this
Yeah.
way. That's part of the process. That means that I'm going on to some bigger version of myself and I've got to lean in instead of leaning out.
Yeah, baby. Love that for you so much.
Yes. And I think the other part of this that is really interesting that I would love to talk to you about is how I have found that by letting go of the standards that I think I need to be at or be, what we talked about earlier in the episode of needing to kind of chase whatever's coming, by being able to let go of that and lean into where I'm at right now and be like, you know what? I'm building my craft, I'm building my voice, I'm building this business. I have started having so much more fun with the process. My whole
Mm.
life, I was very much dictated by the outcome. I grew up being the smartest girl in my class. I was always top of the year. I was always told how smart I was and how I was so good at everything that I did, not realizing that I actually took that story and then only ever did things that I was good at. If it was something that I wasn't naturally good at, I just didn't do it. It wasn't that I
Mm.
was naturally good at everything. I just stuck to the few things that
Mm.
I had that natural inclination for. And so now I've been really untangling that belief and challenging myself and putting myself out there in different ways. But the more that I've done that, the more that I've been able to just kind of like stretch and almost rip that connection between the process and the outcome, where I'm like, actually, it doesn't matter where this takes me. It could take me any number of places, but I'm just going to show up with for where I'm at right now and continue doing it, knowing that I'm going to continually get better and better. And it has brought so much joy to right
Mm.
now instead of just always being like you said, once I have this or once I achieve this, then I will be happy. Now it's like, I know I'm going to achieve big things, but I also get to experience joy right now and have fun doing what I'm doing right now. And what a gift that is because I really don't think that we know how to have fun as adults. I really don't.
No, 100%. We don't. Do you want me to get into it? Because once I start talking about fun, Brooke, like
Please.
I don't know how long we've got, but this is one of my favorite F words to
Please,
talk about
please,
is fun.
because
Yeah.
yes, it is one of my favorite things too. I talk about it all the time as a speech therapist because I work with kids 6 and under, and I'm doing crazy stuff in my sessions where sometimes the
Yeah.
parents are like, what are you doing? Or they'll say, oh, I would like my child to sit at a table and do the worksheets. I'm like, look, if that's what you want, you're going to have to go to someone different. Because in this
Mm.
room, we're going to be doing ninja jumps. We're going to be doing trick shots. We're going to be doing all sorts of shit.
So good.
Because I don't believe in sitting at a table with a kid that's less than 6. And a lot of times parents are, I mean, I get parents that are happy to have play-based therapy, but they're like, oh, but how are they learning through that? And I'm like, what do you mean? How are they learning
Yeah.
any other way? They have to be having fun in order
Yeah.
to be learning. So, yes, take it away. Tell me about how
Oh my
you see
gosh.
this.
Where do we start? So I guess that, a big piece of the work that I do, and I know that it shines through. I was about to say, I hope it shines through, is that I am fun, right? Like there's
Yes.
a lot of fun that comes out of me. And I truly do believe that we can do the really hard stuff that we need. And especially like you're talking about with the work that you do with kids, like it's hard. They're not
Mm,
walking and working with you to do an easy breezy thing. Like it's a big deal with their speech. And it's a lot of that sort of stuff is that I'm helping people with too, is that it is quite hard, but that doesn't mean you can't have fun while you're actually doing it. And the reason that I make sure that a lot of the work that I do is fun is, and there's a bucket load of research that really backs it. But the moment that we're actually having fun, our brain or our mind actually opens, right? Like
mm,
we can think about different things. And if you think about, like I was even saying this in one of my workshops last week, like if you think about a moody teenager, and I think about how I was as a teenager, I was an absolute barrel of laughs. I tell you, I was terrible. But I think about like when I was 14, 15, mum would probably say 16. I think that was when I was my absolute worst, which I think girls can be around that age. Terrible. We know everything, Brooke, at 16, you
Yes.
know? So I was
God, I was smart at 15.
so smart, so smart. Like you asked me something, I knew the answer. So when I was like having a moody whatever, sitting on the couch, and for mum to come up and go, I think you should go outside and play. And I'm closed off, right? Like I'm pissed off, I'm moody. Like there's no way I am open to whatever is coming out of mum's mouth. But if I'm in a good mood and I'm actually playing with her, I'm in the kitchen, we're joking around, and she's like, why don't we go outside and go for a walk? I'd be like, absolutely. Like, let's go do that. And so what we want to do when we're actually living life, but especially in the workplace, which is the work that I do, is that if we are having fun, we are so much more open to doing things. And for some reason, people think that when they're at work, they have to put their serious pants on. Right. And people then think as an adult that I'll have fun after work, or I'll have fun on weekends, or I'll have fun when it's a public holiday, or I'll have fun when I go on holidays. But when I'm at work from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, it's serious. I have to be professional. I have to wear black, gray, beige, or white. Like this is serious, right? Because we're at work and we're talking about serious things. And a lot of the time, bless the businesses that I work with, it ain't rocket science. Like I haven't actually had any team workshops with people who are doing some serious like surgeon type stuff. So, but they still feel like we can't have fun. That's just the way that it is. So once you start injecting that though, all of a sudden people are sharing, are collaborating a lot more, are seeing people, different sides of people. They're able to get closer, the relationships, they want to work more effectively, like all great things come from it. But the really scary thing with adults, and this happened when I first started my business, I was like, I'm going to inject fun. I'm going to make sure that teams are having fun, because my background was HR, which a lot of the time, Brooke, was not fun. So I'm going to make sure that we're doing that. And I remember I was in, like, it was Mount Tambourine here in Queensland, and I was running a workshop for a team of managers who were in the travel industry. And I actually said to everyone, I want everyone to write down 10 things that they do for fun outside of work, thinking that this was the most easy thing for people to do. And they all just stared at me, like all just stared.
Wow.
And I was like, do we not hear me? So in your workbooks, I just want you to write out the 10 things outside of work that you do for fun. And then we're just going to share them, and how good. This is going to be such a great activity. This is the early stages in my business, right? I do not do this anymore. And so I was getting them to do that. They all looked at me. One person started crying, and I was like, what is happening? And then another person saw that she was crying, so started getting emotional as well. I think I had 3 or 4 people who were actually crying in this session. God. And they sort of, one of them ended up piping up saying, Candice, we work really long hours. Like we actually don't have time for fun. And one lady said, I have no idea what I do for fun. Like I can't even write one thing on this list and you want me to write 10. And the whole workshop and conversation started deterring from this whole, we work really hard, we want to be better at work, to I have no idea as a fully grown human what fun is anymore. Wow. And now, especially with the work that I do, I mean, it's in one of my chapters in my book as well, where I get you to list out 50 things, I stepped it up a notch, that you actually do for fun. And people initially look at me with this task and they're like, there's no way I could write down 50. I'm like, yes, you can. It might take you a while, but you absolutely can. And literally having it in your phone, having a piece of paper, and it's like, what do I do for fun? Because it actually changes. You know, like what I used to do in my 20s for fun is very different to what I now do in my 40s as fun. Mm-hmm. And if we're not keeping up with that and we're really knowing ourselves very well, it becomes really difficult to have a good time, because the moment you actually do have random capacity in your life, you fill it with shit. You fill it with Netflix. You fill it with whatever it is. You fill it with doom scrolling on your phone, because you don't know what fun is for you. So we have to get really clear on it. Like, is it going surfing? Is it going for a bushwalk? Is it making cupcakes? Is it doing handstands? Yes, it is for me. I bloody love doing handstands. Whatever it is, though, it's going to be very different. Like your list, Brooke, will be very different to mine. And it will change over time. But it's up to you to like get clear on, what does fun mean to me, this age that I am at now. Get yourself to 50. Everyone who's done this exercise at the beginning says there's no way, and they all do it. They end up having to say to their husband or their friend or their auntie or their mum or their colleague, like, what do I do for fun? What do you do? What do I? And they'll say, I love stand-up paddleboarding. And they'll go, no way, I hate that. So they won't put that on their list. Or I love puzzles. Cool, I'd rather poke myself in the eye than do a puzzle. But whatever it is, you're getting clear on what is fun for you. And then you get to start ticking it off. Start doing the thing, as opposed to, like I said, when you have space, you go watch more Netflix, you go doom scroll. Actually start having more fun and seeing the differences it makes in your Monday to Friday. When you've
Hmm.
actually got something to say after your weekend, or randomly you go for a picnic on a Tuesday night, or Wednesday lunch, you decide to go and do something different for lunch that you haven't done previously because that was fun in the middle of the day. Whatever it is. But getting really clear on that can change so much in your life. It's incredible.
I love the idea of making it 50
Mm.
because I think that something that came up when you were talking about that was how I feel that because we can be so robotic with things as adults, we can hear the word fun and go, okay, well, this has to be a organized, structured activity that I go to every week where it's a dance class or it's a painting thing. But with 50, there's no way that you're going to have 50 structured things. So it has to be things like handstands or having a random dance party after dinner, which is something that we do in our house every single night. And I absolutely love it.
Love it. Yeah.
But really small things where, something that you can easily do at your lunch break, where instead of just sitting there on your phone waiting for it to end, you go out for a walk or you go climb a tree or, like whatever it is. I love that the list is so big because it really forces
Mm.
you to step outside of what I think we can often get stuck in the box of like, oh, I do this thing every Saturday morning. It's like,
Yeah,
no,
no.
what are the tiny moments where you can actually find joy and then starting to place those little moments throughout your day. I love
Mm.
that. That's so cool.
Yeah, and being open to it, right? Like I think that there's so much that's going on in your life that actually is fun, but we're not programmed to realize that that is fun. Like if I think about, we started this at 10 a.m. and before that, like I called a friend, like I was having a cup of tea. I could see, the dots, like I could see that she was messaging me and I was like, oh, this is annoying. And I just called her and I was like, that was fun. Like I'm
Mm,
not on the phone a lot. Like I'm texting, I'm DMing, I'm emailing, I'm everything else, which is, it's 2026. But to actually call her, I got off the phone and I was like, that was fun. Like that is
mm.
absolutely on my list. Like calling friends, like speaking to them in real time, like sitting outside, which I did before I called her, where I had my hot cup of tea and I was just sitting there for a little moment, just doing nothing. Like that was actually fun. Like how joyful is that when I think about that group of people who are in the travel industry who feel like they've got no time for fun? Like, are they doing that sort of stuff, or are they literally just go 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 and eating something shit and walking out the door or whatever it is? Like making that time fun doesn't have to be long huge things. Like I reckon I was with my tea for like 2 minutes. Like it wasn't a big thing, but it was like, this is something that I really enjoy doing. So there's no criteria, Brooke, as well. It literally just has to be personal for you, where you're like, that was fun. That's it. Write it down. It doesn't have to be going to the zoo or, like you said, dancing every single week. Like, yes, that's on my list for me, but it doesn't have to be a regular thing either. Just things that put a cute smile on your dial. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. So good. And I think that, like you mentioned, of it being, it needs to be this. That's like another way that I think we can get stuck in, well, if I
Mm.
put it on my list, then I've got to do it every week. And then if I don't do it, then I failed. And then back into the spiral of
Mm.
whatever. But having that list and then doing those little things also creates such a level of awareness for gratitude for what's actually happening on a daily basis. And like you said, fun doesn't have to have a specific definition either of like, woo, something crazy's
No.
happening. It's like, no, I'm enjoying a
Yeah.
moment sitting outside, having a tea or chatting with a friend. It doesn't have to be overtly like we're jumping around. It's something that I'm doing for me that brings me, yeah, that brings me joy. And
Yeah.
then you can link that to gratitude of, wow, I'm so lucky. I'm so grateful that I get to sit here and just enjoy a hot drink before I get into my day. And I've
Mm.
just recently run a 30-day gratitude practice challenge. And that was one of the things that a lot of the women said was like, I actually have so many things in my day that I can be grateful for, like little
Love that.
things, even on
Yeah.
days that I'm having, a lot of bad things are happening. I'm still able to say, wow, like I have the coziest sheets that I get to, like, I love, that moment, especially in the winter here in Australia, where you put like flannelettes on and you get to like, oh, just cuddle in. In Canada, I was like, no, I hate the cold. But here I love it because it's so bloody hot here in
Yeah.
Queensland. But like little moments like that, where you just get to be like, wow, how lucky am I that I get to do this little thing or have this little moment for me or whatever it is. And we just don't take enough time at all. I mean, some people can't even list out one thing. That's wild to me. But
Mm.
what an opportunity to go, wow, I'm finding this really hard. I need to spend some time with myself here because I should know what I love to do. I
Yeah.
should know what brings me joy. Because as a kid, you knew, right? Like at some point as a kid, you had no problem doing whatever the hell you wanted to at any given moment. Like the way that my daughter is so present. She's just about to turn 2 and she's just like, she loves this Italian book right now called Piccolo. And she's always asking to read this Piccolo book and say the different Italian words. And I got that book randomly, not even thinking that she was going to be interested in it. And it has brought her so much joy. And every time I see her doing it, like reading it, I'm like, man, this is so cool. She's just
Yeah.
like, this is something that she loves right now, unapologetically pushing it into people's faces, asking them to read it with her, you know? But we lose that as we get older. We get
Mm,
nervous about asking for what we want or owning the fact that we love something. And we're like, oh, yeah, it doesn't really fit in with what everyone else is doing, or I should have done this earlier. So maybe I've missed my chance to have
mm,
this fun opportunity. But really, you can live on your own terms however the hell you
mm,
want to. And the more that you can lean into the fun, the more that you can lean into those little moments of joy, the more I think that you can kind of tune everyone else out because you're like, I'm on my path. I know what
mm,
I'm doing and I feel
mm.
really good doing it.
Yeah, I think there's a really annoying, weird, very honest thing that comes up when you do talk about fun, though, because it doesn't come with a lot of ease. And I think it's very similar to
Mm,
the stuff we've been talking about. Like guilt randomly pops its head. Like there's no guilt with your daughter when she's reading Piccolo. Like there's
yes.
nothing there, right? But all of a sudden as an adult, we're like, can I just go and read before dinner? Like, is
Yes.
that something I'm allowed to do? Like, I'm 40 and I'm at the park. I've just done a walk. Can I do a handstand? Like, is that what you're supposed to do, or is that not what you're supposed to do? So our heads get so ridiculously full with such unnecessary things. And I've had friends say to me, like, you've always done handstands. And I have. My mum says it all the time. She's like, oh my God, and part of it, I do it because I still can.
Yeah.
Still can. Like, absolutely. Again, I'm going to be that really old person, Brooke, who is still doing bloody handstands. You wait.
I
You
love
wait.
it.
But every time I do it, I'm like, it's so much fun. Like I really enjoy doing it. So it's like I want to keep being that person. And then if people look at it going, what is she doing? That really tall person doing a handstand. It's called fun. It's
Yeah.
called fun.
Look it up.
And we've forgotten, we get embarrassed, or we think that
Yes.
that's not appropriate, or we think that, I should be doing something else with my time. And it's like, no, like
Mm.
that's not it. And again, like we're talking about, you get to the end of your life and it's not well done making sure Monday to Friday was serious, and well done having a little bit of cute fun on Saturday, but not too much. Like, well done for keeping it sensible. Like, nah, like make your own rules, have a good time. And like I said, it's not just fun for the sake of it. And sometimes when I'm in workshops, people look at me and they're like, okay, chill out, the person with really bright clothes on and red hair. Like, you don't have to have fun. Like, we're doing okay in our life, and they look at me like that, Brooke. And it's like, just give it a go and see what
Mm.
changes, because I guarantee you can't have fun and be worse off. You
Mm.
can't have fun and not get any results out of it. It changes your mind. It changes the way that you think about things. It changes your creativity. It changes your effectiveness, because you've actually, like, your body is in motion. And like you said, it doesn't have to be something big. It's something that makes you feel happier than what you were previously. So just go play with fun. Go play with it.
Hell yeah. I love that. And I love how you said, all those things that it changes. I would add to that that it actually changes your physiology when you're
Yeah.
having fun. Like you feel it in your body. Like I had a really rough morning yesterday. I got in the car with my daughter and she said, "Musics." She always wants to listen to the same song. I pop it on. We start dancing and I'm like, "Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. I'm back in the groove." Like that was 20
Yeah.
seconds from me being like, like I'm whatever I
Yeah.
was grumpy about. And then straight into, as soon as I like let myself just get out of my
Totally.
head and back into my body, I was like, oh yeah, this is why I need to do this all the time, because that's the
Yeah.
feeling that I want, is to live in that place of like, oh, this feels so good. And like,
Yeah.
this is such a mundane everyday moment of just dancing in the car.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point. That is your whole
Totally.
life. That is your whole
Yeah.
life. And imagine being able to lean into those moments every single day.
Oh, I love this. And it's so funny. Like, it just reminded me, like, just well, sometimes we need to be reminded to move our bodies,
Yes.
or just to relax a little bit. But every now and again with workshops, and I'll say to people, if I feel like we've been sitting too long, I'm like, just stand up for me. And honestly, there will be a couple of people every time that go, oh, it cracks me up, Brooke. And I literally look for it. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I'm just getting you to stand up. And they all start laughing, but it happens every time. Like, getting them to stand up is like, Oh God. If you did that to a bunch of kids and you're like, everyone stand up, they'd be like, yay, we get to stand
Finally.
up. What
Yeah.
are we gonna do? How exciting. And adults, you lazy shits, we just get like, oh, so hard. And it's actually catching it. It's catching your reactions to things. It's catching what comes up in your body. It's catching what comes up in your mind, like the stupid stories that come up. And it's being just super aware of it. And it's like, is this the life that I'm happy with living? Do I want to be that one that avoids fun? Do I want to be the one that groans when I'm asked to stand up? Do I want to be the one that says no to dancing with my kid? Like, no, like play.
Mm, yes. Amen. Amen to
Yeah.
that.
Amen, babe.
I think that's a great way to finish this episode because what a beautiful message for people to take from this is if anything you can get from this episode, please go do something that makes you uncomfortable, but also go do something that brings you joy. Because what a life to live if you are filling it with joy. So, Candice, thank you so much for coming on the show. Before we wrap up, I would love to just give you an opportunity to just share if people want to find you online, if they want to work with you, if they want to read your book, tell us a little bit about how people can find you.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm everywhere at the moment. So social media, Candice Harvey. So mainly Instagram. I am on LinkedIn. I write very different stuff on LinkedIn, which I'm really enjoying at the moment. I am loving
Nice.
sharing on LinkedIn. But yeah, info@candiceharvey.com if you want to talk about anything. My book is available on Amazon or Audible, also known as Audible, which is great. Like it's my voice for 5.5 hours with that book. So if you do want to get your hands on the Shake Up book or the podcast like you were talking about. But yeah, that's it. Thank you, Brooke, so much for having me on. It has been so fun to have a chat with you, and I am so glad that you asked me. So well done, babe.
Yay. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
See ya. Bye.